To be fair, I always thought that, self love is another aspect that we should embrace, but, I never really thought that I was kind of taking care of myself. And, when I was growing up, I think a lot of people, they judge you based on how you present yourself to other people, but most people don't care. I mean, of, where you come from or your upbringings and whatnot. But anyway, and then they point out your flaws, and most of the time, people are. When you're young and you don't know much, you start judging people. But the funny thing is, when you're young, you don't really know a lot of things. So you're ignorant, and I feel that ignorance is bliss. But what I'm trying to say is, growing up, I don't really think that a lot of people understand this, but most people don't really give a shit about you. I mean, even now, um, they'll start to care less and less about people. And what I'm trying to say is, you got yourself, you got to take care of yourself. And if someone is out there telling you what to do, well, you gotta tell them to shut the fuck up. But what I'm trying to say is, um, it doesn't really matter. I always thought to myself that self love is just, taking care of your physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritually, whatnot, what you believe in, and, get your money right, all that good stuff. But, it's not that simple. I don't think that it's that simple. I think it's the way it's the little things. It's the little things in life where you present yourself to other people. And I think everything just sort of adds up. And they'll feel your energy. Actions can lie, words can lie, but energy doesn't lie, right? So it's the little things that sort of add up to, why are you like this? And truth to be told, there's nothing wrong with how you are at any sort of moment of time. I mean, there's only so many things that we can control and we can't control. And the things that we can control, well, you got to let yourself know that you can't really blame yourself for your flaws and how you were raised. But what you can put yourself to blame is, are you kind of, taking care of yourself? And if you're not taking care of yourself and you're neglecting yourself, I think that's something that you should blame on yourself, right? And if you don't take care of yourself and nobody is there to help you, well, who's going to be there to help you at the end of the day? Nobody. Nobody's coming to help you. So you're there for yourself. You come into this world by yourself. You leave this world by yourself. You can only help yourself at the end of the day. So there's really there's no excuse, right? So when I thought that I was loving myself, I was taking care of myself, I thought that, me going to the chiropractor, fixing my scoliosis was one way of taking care of myself. I thought that me going to a therapist and talking to them and feeling like I can, maybe feel better for myself while I was going to the gym and being good to my parents while taking care of relationships, while going out and, investing into my friendships, I thought that was taking care of myself. I thought that by making other people feel content, I would be content. But that wasn't really the case. That's the funny part. It wasn't the case. Was I happy? Was I content? Was I feeling appreciative of what I had? No. I don't think I was. I don't think that I was living my life. I don't think that I was in that zone where I can tell myself, I love my life. During those years of COVID, during those years where you kind of have to hide, you have to put yourself into hiding. And truth to be told, I really didn't like the person that I was. And I really didn't like how I was presenting myself in front of other people. I was very self conscious. I really didn't enjoy being in the presence of other people. I just wanted to be alone. And to be fair, was it depression? Maybe, maybe. I wasn't really ever diagnosed with depression, but what I can tell you is I feel that if you were to be able to give yourself love to your body, everything else would eventually follow. So I thought by taking care of my mind and my physical health, everything were to follow. But it wasn't that easy. I was eating so much. I was eating so much that I almost gained from 150 pounds to almost 180 pounds in the span of 5 months. And if I were to tell myself back then, it wasn't that I should be eating less, or it wasn't that I should be counting my calories, or it wasn't that I should be going to the gym more. I think it's that mindset of, are you content? And I wasn't content. I mean, I barely had a couple of very good friends, but they were busy. I had my parents, but they couldn't even take care of themselves. They couldn't even help themselves. I had friends who I haven't talked to, but you know, I kind of had like this reset button. And that reset button really told me who were really there for you, right? Who really loved you. So, in my eyes, my irrational fear was losing the closest people to me. It wasn't that pretty, right? It wasn't. I think what really kept me going was having that sort of focus where I was feeling productive. I had this sort of purpose. And I wasn't really sure what that purpose was, but feeling like I was actually at least doing something with my life at least gave me hope that, eventually I would be able to heal, that I would be able to love myself more. And honestly, that sort of me going into hiding and me going into the abyss, it really changed what I really wanted in life. And, you know, as time goes on, as COVID ended, it really didn't really feel like a lot of stuff mattered. Um, Stuff mattered less. And as I went back to visit my grandparents, things kind of shifted in terms of everything. I think I began to mature more. I think I began to grow more. And I think that sort of mindset of taking care of your loved ones, I think it's okay. I think it's okay to embrace that fact. And I really thought that by being present while working, it satisfied me. But I was sort of neglecting my problems. I was sort of neglecting those thoughts of my inner demons. I'm not sure if it was from my childhood, but I read somewhere where if you were neglected or abused or whatever, not that I was abused, but neglected, yes, that you were sort of in like this guerrilla warfare trenches type of, soldiers and yeah, whatever. But yeah, the past is in the past. Um, and I do want to say that a lot of people, they really don't I mean, they really don't put time and effort into appreciating their mental. And so I had this feeling that eventually maybe it took some time, but as you change environments, I feel like that would save a lot of headache. And having change is a very good thing. Having that sort of moment where you realize that, like, it's okay to not be okay, but at the same time, it could be better. Everything could be better. Not that you need your life to get better every single day. I mean, there's obviously stagnancies and obviously there's up and downs. That's life. Life is already hard enough. So, what I'm trying to say is you can't really blame yourself for things that you can't control at that moment of time. But as long as you're able to learn from your past and have some sort of goals that you're willing to put in effort into every single day, I think that's a good thing. And I was really thinking last night, I was like, why do I have this mental block? I was having a mental block when I was looking at chips in the Safeway chips aisle, and I was like, what the freak is this digital icon coupon? And it has like this barcode that you scan and then you download the Safeway app. I did that one time and I really disliked having an app to have a discount. Like, I understand the marketing plan is to get you to download the app so you can order more stuff later on in the future. I understand that. But the thing about me was like, I'm not going to do that. So I'm not going to buy the chips, even though I really wanted the chips. But it was like me not wanting the chips. And then this other time I was at the mall, I saw this really cool pair of red and black and white Nike Air Jordans. And I really wanted it. So I looked online. I'm like, okay, it's going to be 130 online, but in the store it's 120. Okay. And then I checked like 2 months later, like yesterday or a couple of days ago, and I'm like, oh, it's 99.99. But then I looked at it and I had a change of thought. I'm like, I'm not that materialistic, and I already have enough shoes that I wear, and I really don't want to buy this new pair of shoes because it looks very, very similar to my Puma, which I already have this sort of, color scheme. And so I was like, nah, I don't really want it. And truth to be told, I had like this very big addiction to arcade machines. And so these claw machines where you get stuffed animals, even if whatever, even if it's a scam, it is what it is. People gotta make money. People gotta pay their bills. So I probably spent a few $100s in there, maybe close to 1,000, maybe less. But all in all, do I regret it? Not really, because at that moment of time, I really liked it. And so I don't have any sort of big regrets per se, leading up to my life till now. Because if you lose money, you lose nothing. But if you lose health, you lose something. But if you lose your character, you lose everything. So did I lose my character? Did I lose myself? If I were to say yes, I'm not lying to you. If I were to say no, then I am lying to you. So coming into hiding during that time, yeah, it was bad. It was really bad for my character. But now that I learned that, that it's okay to be yourself, to love yourself, I think it's okay to just, accept that whatever happened, happened. And, it took me 27 years to realize some of these things. But yeah, mental blocks, very not good. Telling yourself that you can't do something or you won't do something, you're right. You can't do it. And most of these people, they're content with how they are. And when they tell themselves that, oh, I can't do this, I can't I can't win. I can't go to the gym. You're right. You can't go to the gym. You're not going to be able to go to the gym. And truth to be told, I'm going to invest more into my life by investing into my physical health. And I think that's my next step for the rest of the year. I mean, we're already halfway through the year of 2026. And I really want to put in some time and effort into my body, into my mental health. And so that's just one of my goals, and I really want to do that. And coming into age 28, big things happening in the next couple of years because I'm about to turn 30. Unc is pushing 30, and boy, it's not gonna look pretty. Whew. I don't feel old, but recently I'm like, I've just been sleeping bad. I haven't been taking my I haven't been taking my mineral. I haven't been taking my magnesium glistening, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll start taking care of myself more. I have been thinking a lot about what I want in the future, and honestly, it's okay. It's okay. If there's no change, there's no change. But if there is change, well, I'm looking forward to it. And I really want to say that change is good because change will at least eventually work up to be good. If it's all up and down, there will eventually be a lot of ups. And even if there are a lot of downs, why do we fall? To pick ourselves up. So it's only up from here. I really don't know. I really don't know, but I really believe.